Sarah Ferguson's life takes drastic turn as she moves from luxury mansion to cattle shed. Welcome back, royal watchers, to Crown Chronicles, your go-to channel for the most captivating stories, hidden truths, and dramatic twists inside the British royal family. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you never miss a single episode. Today's story is one that will leave you absolutely stunned. It's unexpected, emotional, and almost unbelievable. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, has gone from the comfort of a luxury mansion to living in what insiders describe as a cattle shed. Yes, you heard that correctly. And the truth behind this shocking shift is far more complex. Dramatic and revealing than anyone imagined. For decades, the world has known Sarah Ferguson, Fergie, as the spirited, fiery redhead who married into the royal family and then maintained an extraordinary presence even after her divorce from Prince Andrew. She lived a life that blended glamour with controversy, privilege with pressure, joy with humiliation. But even through scandals, financial struggles, and public scrutiny, one thing remained consistent: she always landed back on her feet in a comfortable, stately home. That's why today's revelation feels almost surreal. A duchess in a cattle shed? How did her life take such a drastic turn? Let's go back to the beginning of the story. After decades of living largely under the protection and financial support of Prince Andrew at the Royal Lodge, the sprawling Windsor residence she reportedly shared with him long after their divorce, rumors began swirling that the couple's living situation was under strain. King Charles, looking to streamline royal estates and reduce costs, was said to be considering major changes to the properties occupied by non-working royals. Royal Lodge, being an enormous 30-room mansion requiring extraordinary upkeep, quickly became a point of contention. With Andrew's fall from grace, loss of income, and withdrawal from public life, the question of whether he, and by extension, Fergie, could justify remaining in such a vast property only grew louder. And although either one would have fiercely resisted being moved out of their long-time home, the pressures around them were mounting fast. Then came Sarah Ferguson's health battles. Over the past few years, Fergie has faced multiple medical issues, first breast cancer, then skin cancer. These back-to-back challenges forced her to confront her lifestyle, her finances, and her priorities. Friends close to her say she began re-evaluating everything: her work, her home, and even her emotional attachment to the Royal Lodge grounds. And that is where today's shocking twist begins to make sense. According to insiders, as finances tightened and renovations became urgent, Fergie made a surprising and deeply personal decision. She temporarily relocated to a converted outbuilding on a Windsor estate, one historically used as a cattle shed but now refurbished for basic accommodation. The term cattle shed spread like wildfire, sparking headlines that made it sound like the Duchess had been evicted into a barn. But the truth, while dramatic, is more nuanced. Sources say Fergie chose the simpler setting for peace, privacy, and healing. They describe it as rustic, humble, and a far cry from her previous luxury, but still safe and livable. A place where she could step away from royal chaos and focus on writing, recovery, and rebuilding her independence. And yet, even with that context, the contrast is staggering. From the chandeliers and manicured lawns of Royal Lodge to the rough-hewn beams and countryside simplicity of a former farm building, what makes this story even more gripping is the emotional shift behind it. Those close to the Duchess say she is surprisingly content with the dramatic change. She reportedly told one friend that the simpler life has given me more clarity than any mansion ever did. A statement like that speaks volumes about her journey. For years, the public has watched Fergie wrestle with financial pressures, bad investments, poor advisors, and the constant tug-of-war between her royal past and her desire for independence. She has always been a figure of contradictions: royal yet not royal, glamorous yet relatable, wealthy yet perpetually struggling with money. So this moment, as shocking as it appears on the surface, may actually be a powerful turning point in her story. And of course, there is the Andrew factor. Prince Andrew remains in a precarious position, still living at Royal Lodge, still battling to maintain the home, still dealing with the consequences of his scandal. For decades, Fergie stood by him publicly and privately. Their unusual post-divorce closeness made them one of the most unconventional pairs in royal history. But now, with her choosing a simpler dwelling on the estate, the shift in their dynamic is impossible to ignore. It raises questions. Is she distancing herself? Is the royal lodge saga nearing its end? Or is this simply Fergie's way of carving out her own path while still supporting Andrew from a distance, whatever the truth? One thing is clear, Sarah Ferguson has entered a new chapter, one defined not by scandal or opulence, but by resilience, reinvention, and a surprising embrace of simplicity. But don't let the cattle shed headlines mislead you into thinking this is a story of defeat. In a way, it may be the opposite. Fergie has always been a survivor, a woman who falls, stumbles, struggles, but rises again with a smile and a fiery determination that keeps the public rooting for her. This move, as drastic as it appears, may be her boldest step yet toward healing and self-reliance. Royal watchers are now left wondering, will she return to Royal Lodge? Will Andrew be forced out eventually? Will Fergie's simpler life become permanent? And how will this dramatic shift shape the Duchess's future image? Whatever comes next, one thing is certain, Sarah Ferguson's story is far from over. In fact, this surprising turn might just be the beginning of one of the most compelling chapters of her life. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the British royal family's most startling new developments, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Crown Chronicles for more eye-opening stories and exclusive royal insights. The royal world is full of twists, and we're here to uncover every single one.